All right. Hello, hello, everyone. My name is Noa Lakshmi, for those of you who don't know me, and welcome to my channel. Today I have a super duper special guest, and he is one of my astrology teachers, by the way, a great inspiration, and beyond just an astrologer, he is a well of knowledge and information. And today we are going to dive into a conversation talking about the cosmic play and what's going on right now, what 2019 is all about, and connecting the astrology and what's going on in the cosmos right here on planet Earth, and how each and every one of us as individuals play our part in this great journey of evolution and transformation that we are experiencing on the planet at this time. So we'll be talking about self-love and why is it so important right now, the evolution of the planet at this time, and again, the theme of 2019, which is so much about coming home to yourself. So we'll be talking about that and things that you can practice, that you can do, that you can really take into your heart into this year and make 2019 the best year of your life, and how to do that exactly. So with great pleasure and honor, I want to introduce you to Kaypacha. And some of you might know him. He has an amazing astrology report, a weekly report on YouTube. That's how I found him years and years ago, called the Parental Report. So if you're into astrology and you want to learn astrology, I highly recommend you to check out his YouTube channel. He has an amazing community of astrology as well. And even if you're not so much into astrology, there's so much spiritual knowledge and information that can benefit anybody that is on a spiritual path. So Kaypacha, thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to speak with you today.
Wow. I better say something profound now, baby. You got me all set up.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, but I want to say this also, especially with you, Kaypacha, is that you do bring it's not like serious, and that's one of the things that I love about you. You bring so much wisdom to the table, but with lightness and joy and a smile on your face, and you make it super practical and applicable. And it's like, hey, we are all humans. And there's nothing grandiose about it, which is one of the things that I appreciate about you and resonate with.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, and that fits right into our theme for 2019.
Right.
We have the North Node of the Moon moving through Cancer, and Cancer is our humanness, and getting in touch with our feelings, our inner child, our insecurities, our fears, and, you know, maybe also dealing with a volcano of memories and, you know, childhood, past life, whatever, just like things getting triggered, you know, quite a bit from the outside world, maybe challenging us, you know, to stay in a place of an open heart. I think that, you know, the challenge here will be to stay in a place of I am light, I am love, I am open to emotional connection. This is the North Node of the Moon, and the North Node of the Moon in astrology has to do with the unknown, the unfamiliar future path of evolution, like haven't been there, haven't done that. So this is like doing it in a new way. And part of that new way may also be because it's hard to smile when there's a bunch of bad news and headlines and, you know, death and transformation and people falling apart and the planet getting polluted and, you know, people building walls. And, you know, I mean, there's also Saturn, Pluto, and the south node of the moon moving through Capricorn, which is opposite to this Cancer. And that's the outside world, external authorities, It's the news. It's what's going on in the world. It's pressure, duty, and responsibility to the greater whole, the greater world. So that Pluto is transformation through death and resurrection. This is the patriarchy falling apart, falling down, looking stupid, getting mud on their faces, not delivering, not coming through, disappointment, disillusionment, a lot of letdown, no security. We can, get changes, with currencies. We can get changes with government. We can get changes with, well, the U.S. government is shut down right now. So, all kinds of different Brexit and things going on. And, just like fluctuations in the market this year. And so there's lots of things going on, kind of crumbling down around us. And we can get sucked into negativity. We can get sucked into, because particularly if you're on a spiritual path, you're more of an empath. And we are more sensitive. So, we're opening the crown chakra, we're moving into in lakesh alakin, I am another you, and love unites us. Yoga is uniting, and so it's like there's this strong, powerful desire within each of us to belong, to spread love and light, to connect, and that opens us up, and that opening up can sometimes allow a lot in, so we can get overwhelmed with our sensitivity. So, the empath has to be clear with some boundaries. So it's really tricky to stay in this place of light and love and sweetness and at the same time say, I'm sorry, but not today. I'm sorry, but I need space, or I need family time. I need alone time, because you think of unity and oneness and we're all one kind of thing, and you don't want to do that. But at the same time, there's part of this humanness that we're talking about is that, a baby needs naps. If you want to get in touch with your inner child, you need a nap. It's just like, because there's going to be just a lot going on. Pluto's intensity and the south node of the moon's coming to Pluto. It's going to be an intense year. There's no doubt about it. It's stuff is going to be coming up. And it can even be a lot to do with anger. Because, in so many ways, I think that, we got this eclipse coming up here, in less than 2 weeks. And it's right on these nodes. So this is going to be like boom, boom, boom. But, I hate to say, the word karma has just like so much heavy stuff on it, but let's just say you reap what you sow. It's just a natural return of what we put out comes back. And, and it's not only what we put out. Do we maintain it? Do we water the seeds? Where did we throw those seeds? Did we throw them in the gutter or in the sewer? Or did we prepare a nice compost soil, so have we tended our garden? So this is a time of, and collectively, if we look at it for the entire planet, over thousands of years, planet Earth, Gaia, our mother, has been our garden. And, the powerful people in positions, which may have been some of us, we've all had many lifetimes. We can't just like point fingers and say they, we're all in this together, And so the amount of neglect, an abandonment, to Gaia, to the feminine. And the feminine includes emotions, downplaying, suppressing, not validating, honoring or respecting the whole feminine world. And in astrology, the feminine is earth and water. It's the dark night. It's the inner, introverted, receptive quality that is rich and changeable. There's been this whole thing about conquering nature, which is just like a masculine patriarchal idiocy. And the measure of strength has been how much you can resist change and the seasons and the weather and the earthquakes, and make it stronger and make it harder and make it tougher. And this isn't just with skyscrapers and buildings and steel. This is with who I am. Baby! You know what I'm talking about, you know? It's the macho tough guy, man. The Marlboro man. Freaking A. Clint Eastwood, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, he was one of my favorites. I just heard he put out another movie, you know. He's 88 years old.
I heard that too.
It's freaking amazing, dude.
For him.
You know, so anyway, where was I? So now we could measure our strength by our ability to change, by our ability to feel, by our ability to flow, and by our ability to be receptive, rather than fight, resist, get stuck, you know, and dig our heels in. So, you know, yeah, so, you know, and it's, so, you know, I've started out so many balls rolling now. This is, you know, now I get to like juggle everything I said for the rest of it. That's the moon in Gemini, man. I just got the moon in Gemini, kind of, you know, I'm all over the board, but I think you know what I'm saying is that, you know, this shift, particularly of this year, this coming home, you know, will involve also a couple of different things. As the Capricorn, Saturn, authority figures begin to falter, we need to become more and more of our own authorities, and the challenges and the intensity will definitely spur, you know, us, or challenge us to not run away and hide, duck and cover, go into a cave, go under a rock, run off to an ashram in India or the jungle in the Amazon, or, you know, just like, you know, you know, I mean, there will be this tendency. This is Jupiter square Neptune, Jupiter in Sagittarius, foreign lands, foreign countries, the expansion of consciousness and our belief system, really kind of, you know, wanting, you know, to learn and expand into foreign realms, squaring Neptune. Drugs, alcohol, all forms of addiction, escapism, avoidance, denial, wanting to return to the source that created us. I want up, out, and away. Neptune in Pisces is like so strong, and it's so beautiful, and it's so tempting. It's so luscious. It's spiritual love and union. And like, let's, you know, let's just meditate, go out in the woods, hide out, play music, dance with just the light workers. Let's just stay with our light worker friends and support each other and make these little conclaves and enclaves and you know, kind of, you know, protect ourselves from the big, bad, ugly Me Too people and, you know, all the abuse that's out there and stuff. So it's going to be this kind of a thing where it's kind of really tempting you know, to toke up, smoke up, shoot up, whatever, you know, sex, drugs, rock and roll. It can also be movies and Facebook and, you know, Instagram and the screen, you know, and just like, you know, just bury our heads in the screen. And that's not emotional connection. You know, emotional connection is I am looking you in the eye, you know, and we are in the same physical space together, whether it's the house or the bedroom or the car or something, but it's real, live, flesh and blood people. It's not messaging and emailing and texting. You know, this is left brain, Mercury, detached. You know, it's just like, you know what? You can say things in an email and a text that you would not say in person. When you're in person, when you're facing somebody, you know, your sweetheart, your lover, your mother, your daughter, you know, when you're right, you know, this is where, you know, the real communication happens, the real connection happens, the real emotions come up and can be dealt with, not just spit out, you know, because that can create trauma. That can create, you know, this intensity can be lashing out, you know, just because I can't handle anymore or I can't take anymore, and I just kind of, you know, Pluto rules volcanoes. And this south node of the moon and Saturn, you know, we're having in June, July, this, you know, summer in the northern hemisphere, you know, is going to have a Saturn Pluto south node conjunction. They're all coming together. And, you know, this is, you know, Saturn is closing, okay, you know, like a 35-year cycle, you know, a 30-year cycle, because Pluto moves on. And this balsamic approach, and Jupiter and Sag, balsamic approach to Pluto, this is end, finish, close, complete, and that has a lot to do with decomposing, dissolving, it has a lot to do with dissing. Yeah. So things are going to get stinky and smelly, and, you know, this thing that's been festering for 25 years, you know, the close of a cycle brings up everything that has not been dealt with in that cycle so that it can be resolved prior to the beginning of a new cycle. So the idea is like you're erasing the chalkboard, you know, you're cleaning the mirror. We're getting rid of, okay, a lot of lies and bullshit and deception and limiting belief systems and relationships that are not, you know, really founded on deeper soul intentions. Because this is the other aspect. I'll just go on and talk as long. I mean, you got, you know, I just like start talking, man. So you can stop me anytime.
I love it. Keep going.
You know, Chiron and Aries. Think of Chiron and Aries, starting a new 51-year cycle. And Chiron has to do very much so with this soul purpose. And are my actions in alignment with the higher soul intention that I came here to manifest? Or am I just acting out of a need for security, comfort, friendship, warmth, acknowledgement, money, fame, fortune? Am I just, you know, playing this third dimensional game? Or am I really acting out of a deeper soul space. So it's exciting. This is a lot of self-discovery as to really, who am I fundamentally? Who am I as a reincarnated soul being? Like I always say, we have a body, we are not our bodies. We have feelings, we are not our feelings. We have thoughts, we are not our thoughts. We are infinite spiritual beings, and we take on all these things when we come through the sheaths as a soul into that embryo, when we choose to incarnate, and we step out of the multi-dimensional, spirit reality into this material, physical body and form. So part of our moving from this third dimensional time, space, physical, material form into the third dimension, the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, moving closer and deeper into the light, it's the path of self-realization. And that path of self-realization is realizing that we are more than this. And from that space of being more, we become fountains of life, fountains of youth, fountains of water, lighthouses on the shore. It's just like, you tap into, and you don't get dragged down or pulled down or, lost in the temporal, in the temporary. You are the injection. It's like, what? Yeah, I see that, there's some darkness around here. I'm going to inject some light, and I need to stay in that light as my identity, as my truth, as who and what I am. And from that place, I can then spread it. Now, if I don't do my meditations, and I don't do my this, and I don't do my spiritual practice, or I, just get lost in the headlines, or really triggered in this way and that and the other way, right? Then, I just kind of see Saturn as, Saturn is the great teacher. Saturn is the great teacher. He teaches us with limitations and with obstacles and with tests. With tests. How bad do you want it? How patient are you? How disciplined are you? How mature are you? How objective are you? It's, and these will be the challenges I think that each of us will be facing this year, is to grow up. It's very interesting having that, the baby and the mother. And we can go into our baby and we can have tantrums, and we can scream and cry and shout, I'm not getting nurtured, I'm not getting the breast, I'm not getting the cuddling and the snuggling that I need and want, or I'm going to, we can go there. And it might be good to go there just to let it go. Part of it is acknowledging, this is another point. I'll come back to that other thing. Part of this being real is that this Jupiter-Neptune, there's also this part of us that wants to let other people off the hook, particularly our mom and dad. There is this honor thy mother and father that's gone on through the patriarchy for a long time. It's, it's just kind of subconsciously not cool to outdo your parents, to outsmart your parents, to outthink your parents, to, just, to just, go beyond your, it's like there's kind of a taboo. And so, and this can be the same with brothers and sisters, and this can be the same with a lot of our childhood where, sometimes we gloss over, we ignore, we say, oh yeah, dad was too busy working to talk to me or hold me, oh mom, had, a lot of, pressure, on her. So I didn't get any of my needs met. And that could be true. I'm not saying that it's not. But the fact of the matter is acknowledging our hurts and acknowledging our past and acknowledging that we deserved more than we got is a crucial step, I believe, in owning our feelings. And our feelings are not right or wrong. They just are. And it even may be your story. Maybe your mom was holding you and nurturing you and breastfeeding you and all the time. I mean, if you've got Pluto in the 4th house, okay, in your birth chart, mom was never good enough. I don't care what she did. She could be Wonder Woman. But, so you also have just, you have your own unique individual dharma for this lifetime. And we choose our parents and we choose our religion and our financial background and our everything, for our soul lessons in this lifetime. And part of it is going into, acknowledging, okay, the reality, and it's good to, and this is where it's very good to bounce this off of other people. This is an excellent time, okay, to really have deep, powerful discussions with family members, with brothers and sisters who remember and who go back, into your parents if they, if they're still here, and your kids if they're, if you've got them, to like really, because, blood is thicker than water. There's a lot that comes down through the genetic stream. This Cancer Capricorn axis where the moon's nodes are now has a lot to do with the genetic stream. Family constellations is really powerful, good work, for doing this. Rebirthing, really good for this. Hypnosis, really good for this. Past life regression, really good for this. This is really a time of, going back, and it may be to Egypt. It may be to Atlantis. I'm going way back because there was this thing I forgot to say in Lemuria. But to return to that other thing is there's also the mother, the child, and the mother. And the mother is mature, and the mother is the adult. So I like to say to my clients, if they have these moon Saturn issues, Capricorn Cancer issues, hold your little one on your left shoulder and check in. It's our responsibility as adults to take our inner child into account in our decisions, not to let the inner child make the decisions. It's nice to confer. It's nice to feel those feelings. It's nice to, listen, inwardly to that, but not be ruled by or run by or dominated by these, fears, insecurities, unfinished business, or, whatever. So there is this is the, so that, we can really move into, and also it's like the baby in us wants to be nurtured, but the mother in us is the nurturer. And let's face it, the planet, the millennials, the future generation, okay, the plants, animals need protection and nurturing. So there also comes a point where, yes, we need to come home to ourselves, and through a process, we also need to show up and go back out and, be that light in the world, not under a bushel basket, not in a closet, not in an ashram or something. It's like, you know what? I mean, this is the age of Aquarius. We're done with Pisces. Pisces is ashrams, monasteries, mountaintops, caves, places of seclusion and isolation where I do my meditation and I just, connect with the infinite spirit. That's done, baby. The new paradigm is Aquarius. Aquarius is, associations and groups and global corporations and World Wide Web. And it's like, you know what? It's time for us to, really open to, that it's time to upgrade. My friend Maurice, he's a great astrologer. He's always talking about Aquarius and Uranus as being upgrade. It's about upgrading this and upgrading that. And Aquarius wants, to raise the bar, improve the world, improve the situation. And Aquarius sees. And what I really like is, it's like, 2019 is freaking intense. We see shit falling apart. We may want to run or we may want to hide, but, the thing is to just like stand there and still be, in our full light and completeness. And then comes 2020. And 2020, is the big, conjunctions. And then the new birth, baby. This is the birth of the age of Aquarius. This is the birth of the new paradigm. We've only got a couple more years, I'm telling you. Yes, it does fall apart. And it looks hopeless and helpless, and we can go into despair and depression and, suicidal this or whatever. It's so terrible. I mean, if you've given birth, it's painful. Unless you were drugged. Or you're on number 5 or 6. It does get easier.
I can only imagine.
Our 3rd one just came slipping out, man. It was like, whoa!
Oh, wow.
It was like she was on a slide, it was like, whoa! It was about a half an hour, I mean, whoa. Anyway. So we just want to keep our eye, when it gets heavy, when it gets down, and things are falling apart. Just, this is where nature is so beautiful and nature is so strong. And this Jupiter moving through Sagittarius is nature and natural law, And after the winter comes the spring. What's that song? The Rose? It's one of my favorite songs. I love that song. I think Bette Midler did it or something, The Rose, after the winter, in the spring, becomes the rose. So it's like, things pass. Things go. But we are eternal. We reincarnate. Yeah, I mean, we come and go. That's why suicide is its own karma. Because like once you do it, guess what? It gets, your next life, you want to do it again. And your next life, you want to do it again. I mean, it's a kind of a repetitive pattern. It's like, you know what? I'm stubborn and I really don't want to learn, the school of earth. This is, we're on, this is the school of earth, right? I mean, we have our evolutionary stages and we have thousands of lifetimes here. And we're just like, moving from, newly incarnating souls from other galaxies and other dimensions and, other realities. And we come into this and and ultimately you're Buddha or Christ and you don't have to come back again. You don't have to reincarnate. But in the meantime, we've all got stuff to learn, man. And, we're all learning different things at different times, If you're listening to this program, okay, we could say, okay, well, here's what your soul is, in this particular place. And part of this particular place, okay, is moving. So many of us are moving from the individuated to the spiritual. And this is moving from the head to the heart. This is moving from knowing, seeing, envisioning, even imagining you know, like the big picture, okay, and being highly individualized, and I am unique, and I've got this gift, and I'm a genius at that, and I've got, you know, this is, you know, I mean, it's like you move up and you get more and more in touch with your creativity and your power and your intelligence and your, you know, it's like, yeah, I'm really freaking something, yeah, you know, and then, you know, it's like you got to jump off that plateau. You know, so the top of that individuated is Einstein and Da Vinci, you know, and, you know, Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or whatever, you know, it's just like, yeah, whoa, yeah, we are super, you know, super hot, super great stuff. Beethoven and all, you know, all the great masters, you reach this peak of ultimate creativity and then into the heart. From the individuated to the spiritual. From the I am unique, special, different, beyond, elite, whatever, into, you know, devotion, compassion, forgiveness, unity, love consciousness, humility, service, sacrifice, surrender. You know, it's just like, it's a big shift of, you know, of intention, you know, of direction, of, you know, of where, you know, you're putting your time, energy, and attention. Are we putting it towards our own, you know, power, path, security, money, you know, or are we a channel? Are we a medium? Are we an instrument of a divine intelligence that is beyond our personal egoic needs, wants, desires, and fears? So this can be a great year of seeing all those ego needs, wants, desires, and fears. they'll be popping up left and right all over the place. You know? And we can let them go one by one by one by one, just like layers of the onion or whatever. And of course, we can also get into sex. Sex is probably, you know, the playground or the arena where this is most palpable, most tangible, most instantly revealed. You know, we see ourselves, we reveal ourselves, you know, in the most intimate moments where we make those Freudian slips because we weren't thinking, you know, and the truth emerges out of the unconscious. And, you know, because this Cancer Capricorn axis also has to do with gender selection. Yeah. It has to do with not only that genetic flow and that genetic stream that I was, you know, referring to, but also, you know, this is a time of really a lot of souls incarnating, and you can look at your own individual birth chart. And if you have Pluto and or the moon's nodes in the 4th house or the 10th house, and or in the signs of Cancer Capricorn, wherever they may be on your chart, this indicates a recent gender switch. So we, you know, we go through a series of lifetimes. A lot of times it's 8 lifetimes to, you know, fulfill a particular soul intention. And we, you know, and we maintain a, you know, a particular male or female incarnation, depending upon the deeper soul intention. And we do switches. So, well, I could go into that. I mean, I do a whole, you know, I could do a workshop on that, but, you know, what the masculine and the feminine are, and Venus and Mars and all this, that, and the other thing. But, you know, the main thing that I want to talk about is now Pluto is in Capricorn, okay, for, you know, like 13, 14 years, from 2008 to 2023, we have a whole group of souls coming in. And now we've got the moon's nodes for a year and a half in Cancer, Capricorn. So you can bet, you know, the babies being born now, okay, were opposite genders, the other gender. I don't want to say opposite, you know, in their previous lifetimes. And so there's this whole big thing, okay, going on with, you know, the whole gender selection, the transgender, the asexual, you know, the no gender. I was at the Sacramento airport here and they've got, you know, the genderless bathroom, you know, it's just like, okay, you know, here's a bathroom for you folks that, you know, are either or, one or the other, or both and, you know, so it's, you know, I mean, it's really, you know, and to me, you know, this has to do with the manner in which the soul connects to the physical body. And this is, you know, this is an important connection or disconnection. You know, these are big, very powerful, deep identity issues. And the, you know, we're questioning ourselves. It's very interesting because, you know, I mean, I just said, okay, yes, we have a body, but we are not these bodies. You know, and so it's like now we're having, you know, a whole generation of people, okay, you know, really wanting to choose, you know, and wanting to, you know, really look at, you know, and work with in new and different ways, yeah, their gender. And they don't identify with the body, the physical genitals that they have. They say, no, this is not who I am, you know. So I think that, you know, this is also going to increase. And, you know, and so I see this kind of whole, how can we say, you know, Aquarius, you know, as we move towards this age of Aquarius, you know, from Pisces, it's a 2,000-year age. We are at the very, very initial stages of it. This is not the age of Aquarius, and anybody alive today will not really see the age of Aquarius. We are the mothers and fathers birthing the age of Aquarius, and it would be, you know, it's an illusion to think, okay, that this is a snap, you know, this is just like, no, sorry, man. You know, you got to give it a few generations, yeah, a couple hundred years, I would say, in a 2,000-year cycle. So, but this age of Aquarius has to do, okay, with not only the future and prophets and science and technology and extraterrestrial intelligence, but it also has to do with alienation, isolation, mental institutions, and, you know, just like, you know, insanity, madness. And there can be, okay, places where this disconnect, okay, where I am not, you know, connected. I am not. My 7 chakras, I got one over here and one over here and one up there and one, you know, like I'm spinning out all over the place, man. You know, this is where, okay, like, and the other thing that Aquarius and Uranus have to do with is extremes. And you know, and as we get polarized and we come into these extremes of, you know, those who fear change and want to hold on to the past, the patriarchs like Trump or whoever, you know, versus, you know, like the Bernie Sanders or, you know, whoever wants to like move forward or move beyond or move outside. And I don't want it just to be political. I'm talking about things way more than that. But, you know, it's, that's where, in the extremes, this is where, you know, it's like the whole thing is about coming into the middle way. You know, Aquarius does have to do with Buddhism and non-attachment. That non-attachment allows for liberation and it allows for freedom. And when we find ourselves too deeply attached to this point of view or this position or this belief or this relationship or this whatever, that it is pulling us out of that middle way, which we could also look at as, Cancer and this, coming into our core in a way they kind of relate. That's where things get dangerous, traumatic, painful, sudden, extreme. You tune that guitar string too far and it breaks. And this is a year where we're getting tuned. It's like, oh, shit. I feel like I'm going to snap, It's like, oh, baby. Oh. So I don't know where I was going with that. Just that, oh yeah, okay. So the Sage of Aquarius is that you can, and we can, separate, detach, and get so in our heads or so technical or so in the screen and are so caught up in, ideas and thoughts and, beliefs and arguments and debates and, this, that, and the other thing, that we lose our humanity. We lose our, we lose that soul. We lose that, that emotional water element of that North Node in Cancer. All this stuff isn't going on in Capricorn. It's Earth. Jupiter's moving through Sagittarius. It's fire. Okay, Uranus is going into Taurus, it's Earth. Chiron into Aries, it's fire. It's like we got a lot of fire and earth going on. That's forest fires. We got a lot of forest fires going on. Okay, and there's going to be more coming. Shit's heating up. I'm really looking into this whole solar, the whole solar cycles and the solar minimum and, the whole weather change and, droughts and fires and there's, things will become more extreme because we have to understand Aquarius is also the weather. And I associate, the weather as a reflection of the collective consciousness.
Me too. And
as we go through, as we become more intense, the weather becomes more intense. As we become more extreme, the weather becomes more extreme. Life is a mirror, the outside reflecting the inside. And, so we can really measure our own temperature, by the outside temperature, and the outside temperature is rising in a lot of places.
Yeah, I definitely see, I see life like that as well. And I always explain astrology in that way. Like there's nothing out there. What people consider to be, just the planets out there. It's not out there. It's just a reflection of what's going on in here. And also, wouldn't you say that what's going on the planet right now, Kaypacha, is really Mother Earth herself speaking to us? She's shaking,
Absolutely.
rattling.
Yeah. And to me, this is the dangerous side of technology, because technology can be very invasive to Mother Nature. Yeah. Particularly when it is, being used by fools.
Well said.
It's like, letting a 5-year-old, play with a gun.
Yes.
We've got, we just have young souls, maybe incarnating from Mars, or whatever, coming in going, oh boy, look what we can do with this and look what we can do with that, and they're messing around, right? They're, not only the pharmaceutical companies and Monsanto and, genetic this and genetic that and genetic the other thing, but the operations, the sex changes and things like that, and just, it's like really, it's liberating us and freeing us. It's empowering us. Aquarius does have to do with power. And there is the right and wrong use of power. And this is the whole thing. Like Jupiter now in Sagittarius is saying, we need to expand our understanding of natural law And Capricorn is actually about morality and ethics. What is moral? And what is immoral? And what is ethical and what's not ethical? And I know that there's been a lot of, the new age kind of a thing, it's all good and it's all, I used to spout that myself, and it's, it's just like, but Scorpio and Pluto, has to do with evil. And and now we get into the paradox, because my feeling, again, obviously this whole thing is my feeling, but it's that the paradox is that there is no evil and there is evil. There is no death and there is death. Okay, so there's the third dimension where there is polarity. There is good and bad, right and wrong, light and dark, plus and minus. And then in the fourth and the fifth dimension, there's not. So our souls don't, our souls don't die, but our bodies do. So it's going on at the same time. And this is where we're kind of getting, the third dimension is like, we're hitting this point where it's like, okay, just how do we do this merge? And so, so the technology can again go too far, too fast, without understanding the consequences. And this is a time where Saturn and Pluto, Capricorn has to do with consequences. Like I said, we reap what we have sown. And I think that we are going to witness, yes, this year and next year, okay, some of the backfire, okay, of, oh goodness, I don't think we should have done that. Oh goodness, I don't think I should have done that. And this is another thing. I can just fucking go on forever, man. Because it has to do with guilt and shame. Saturn and Capricorn also has to do with guilt and shame. And even in the last Pele report I talked about, and I'll probably talk about it this next time, it's like when the dog shits in the house, the owner goes, look at what you did, you're supposed to do this outside, this is, we're going to have life coming at us, saying, look, and this is another thing where we can really be ashamed of ourselves. Let's face it, we're all human. We've all messed up. We've all made mistakes. We've all been immature on our path towards maturity and done immature, stupid, selfish things that have caused pain, sorrow, and grief in the lives and the hearts of other people. Let's face it, nobody's perfect. And so, we can also go into this downward spiral of, I'm no good, I'm so bad, I've done wrong, and we can and we can even subconsciously, or like you said, the mirror, attract people to show us how bad and shameful and guilty and dumb we are and have been, and we can stew in it. We can be martyrs of our own making. We can be victims of our own making. And that's the important thing about taking responsibility for the reality that we are creating consciously, subconsciously, or unconsciously. On an ego level or a soul level, we have to really come into this place of taking responsibility for where we are at in our lives, in our relationships, in our employment, in our career, in our soul journey, and saying, okay, this is where I'm at, and, I've done this wrong or this bad, or I'm ashamed of that, but, this is now that I'm aware of those things, I am more capable of making better choices in the future. Thank you very much for waking me up and showing me that I am a powerful being and that I have an effect on you and the world. I was unconscious of my effect of what I was radiating out into this dimension. So what we want to do is we want to thank the people who are rubbing our nose in our shit and say, thank you very much. And I've got it. I've got it. I don't need a repetition. I don't need, to be constantly, dragged down or pulled, to repeat the past and repeat the past and repeat the past. We bring up all of this past in order to learn from it and move on from it and let it go. So, yeah, I think that this is also going to be the challenge of, I always say, and Jeffrey Green, my teacher says, you cannot live without judging. This idea of, it's not fair to judge and, don't be judged and don't judge other people. That's bullshit. You can't make a decision without judging. Yeah. So it's the criteria that you use in your judgments. And then it's like, taking the responsibility, for that choice or that judgment and doing what is best. This is character building. This is how we learn. This is how we mature. This is how we grow. It's like, yeah, now I'm aware of these things and I am more liberated and I am more free to make different choices in the future because I'm more conscious of what happened in the past. So we want to thank the past, not blame the past, not repeat the past. We want to thank it and say goodbye and move on to the future. And this Cancer Capricorn axis, it has to do with the past. The moon has to do with the past. Saturn has to do with the past. So there's going to be a lot of, I think our memories are going to get jogged, one way or the other about, what we've done or not done. And the thing is to witness it objectively and be grateful for it. And, you can't forgive anybody else until you forgive yourself. You can't love anybody else until you love yourself. You can't have, you got to have compassion for yourself. And so, this is also, about, you can't, it's not about letting yourself off the hook, but you see the hook, and you carefully, with great sensitivity, extricate yourself from the hook. I wonder where that hook came from. In the story of Inanna, she descends into the underworld and Ereshkigal hangs her on a meat hook. The goddess of love and beauty gets hung on a meat hook. I wonder if that's the origin,
Wow.
of
Talking about reflection of consciousness, huh?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, Kaypacha, so much. And just to tie the theme of self-love, because this is really what I'm all about. And it's such a wide, broad umbrella what self-love is. What you are describing right now is just one function of loving oneself and seeing one's own worth. Is that compassion that you were talking about, that piece of compassion to the past, knowing that we did the best we could with what we had at the moment, the level of awareness that we had at the moment. And it's a function of self-love to say, I'm putting the past to rest and I'm moving forward because I know that I deserve to live the best life I can live.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you live in that way, when you are fulfilled, then your cup is overflowing. And then you are of service to other people automatically. That's why I always emphasize self-love is not selfish. And I believe that that's something that we've been taught and conditioned to think.
Right. Beautiful. Yeah. Absolutely. It's just like, then you become the authority, the author of your own life.
Right.
And you become the example. You become the model. That's walking your talk. Yeah. And then people see that. And you reflect that back to them. And it's like the ripple effect, the domino effect or whatever, pay it forward. Yeah. So yeah, it does. It starts.
starts from within. And so that's why, you know, I wanted to share with the audience, with those that are listening to this, when it comes to 2019, because you covered so much in both 2019 and 2020, pretty much all the way to like 2023, 2024, right? With Pluto moving into Aquarius and Saturn moving into Aquarius, we're looking at the next few years of a lot of intensity, like you said, in our own individual lives and on the planet. And so practically speaking, for each individual, how to go about that intensity, it boils down to that self-love, to knowing yourself. You were talking about boundaries and how important it is, knowing how to say no, and really leading by example and becoming the authority in your life. And that's how you can navigate through the intensity of the next few years, birthing a new paradigm.
Yeah, baby.
Amazing. Oh my God. We can keep talking for so many hours. It's just the things that you uncovered, and it all ties together. You know, I had so many realizations, and you're speaking about the astrology, and it's amazing to me, the Jupiter moving through Sagittarius while Chiron moving into Aries, and that this healing of our ego and our instincts and just our own identity of who we are. All of that is coming up to being examined and healed majorly in the next 7 years. So
what it is to be a human being
exactly
is under fundamental change.
Yes.
It's a whole thing for the species.
Right. So Kaypacha, what would you say, what would be some closing words that you would offer when it comes to this year of 2019, how to stay grounded in that sense of knowing oneself? And by that, you become such a powerful vessel, and you really help humanity in this great transition, I would say. So what would you say about that?
You know, I come up with these little labels for each year, you know, and the label that I have for this year is deciphering what is true and making it you.
Bam.
There's going to be a lot of fake news. There's going to be a lot of false prophets. There's going to be a lot of, you know, bullshit flying, okay, exaggerations, you know, half truths, you know, blah, 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 you know, false gurus, whatever. And it's just, you know, we really, it'll be time, and that we can actually use that to help us decipher our truth, and then come home to this North Node in Cancer and be that and walk that and speak that and talk that truth. So I think that, you know, this is, you know, and of course, that's the Capricorn being the model and the example, you know, is to walk your talk.
Yeah, it's integrity. I see Saturn and Capricorn is a lot about integrity and having that spiritual integrity, which is just walking your talk. Because there's a lot of talk out there, even in the spiritual community.
You betcha, baby.
Yeah.
It's wild, huh?
Yeah. So. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Great to talk with you. I hope I didn't talk too much. I was hoping for more of a conversation, but
I just didn't even, I could not even chime in. Like, you were on such amazing flow. I'm just letting you rip.
So good to see you. Thank you for having me, and hello and goodbye to everybody that sees this, and wishing you all of the best. Keep that heart open, you know, and shine the light. Namaste.
Yeah. Namaste, and stay true to yourself always and in always.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Kaypacha.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.